The alarm goes off at 5:45, the way it always does. I reach across and shut it off without opening my eyes. The room is still mostly dark, just that gray light coming through the blinds. The kind of morning that hasn't decided what it wants to be yet. There's a glass of water on the nightstand that I poured before bed and never drank. I do that every night. Pour the water, set it on the nightstand, and then in the morning it's just sitting there, full, untouched. I don't know why I keep doing it. I give myself 10 seconds before I sit up. That's a thing I started doing years ago. A therapist told me to let the morning arrive before I do. I don't remember much else from that therapist, but the 10 seconds stuck. The apartment is too quiet. It's a 2-bedroom, which made sense when I signed the lease, and it doesn't make much sense now. The second bedroom is technically a study, but mostly it's a room where I hang a coat and keep a box of things from the divorce that I haven't opened. The kitchen has one of those 6-burner ranges that you see in magazines, and I've used it maybe 30 times since I moved in. The rent is more than I should be paying, but I signed the lease when things looked different. And then things stopped looking different, and the lease renewed automatically, and here I am. I get up and go to the closet. I've got 6 suits in rotation, all similar, all slightly different in ways that only matter to me. Today, I pulled the charcoal gray with the narrow lapel. This is the one I wear on days that matter, and today matters. I've had it pressed. I get dressed the way I've gotten dressed every workday for the past 15 years, which is to say quickly and without thinking about it. The tie knots itself, full Windsor, centered, the little dimple in the fabric that I get right every time, because my father taught me when I was 14 and it's just in my hands now. I go to the bathroom and shave. The face looking back at me in the mirror is fine. It looks like my face. But there's something behind the eyes that I can see even if nobody else would. A tiredness that hasn't quite made it to the surface yet. A weight sitting somewhere I can't name. I walk out to the kitchen and pick up my phone from the counter. The screen lights up with the usual flood. Emails, deal confirmations, calendar notifications. Today is closing day for the Meridian Pacific acquisition. $4.2 billion. I've been managing the escrow on this deal for 5 months, and today is when everything actually executes. The money moves. The notifications are what I expect. Legal clearance confirmed. Regulatory sign-off. Counterparty authorization staged. All good. Everything where it should be. I'm scrolling through the work stuff when I see a message underneath. It's from a number that isn't in my contacts, but I recognize it immediately. My stomach does this thing, a quick drop, physical, the kind of reaction your body has before your brain even decides what it's reacting to. I look at the message for a second, then I put the phone face down on the counter and walk over to the coffee maker. The coffee maker is probably the best thing in this apartment. It's a Breville with a built-in grinder that sounds like it's chewing through gravel for about 45 seconds before it produces anything worth drinking. I bought it when I moved in because I had this idea that a man who makes his own coffee in the morning is a man who has his life in order. The theory hasn't held up, but the coffee's good. I grabbed the mug from the counter. It's a dark blue ceramic mug. Been using it for years. The handle is just wide enough for 2 fingers. Pour the coffee and the heat comes through the side of it right away. And then just hold it for a second. The weight of it in my hand, the warmth soaking my palm. I don't know why that settles me, but it does. Just standing there in the kitchen holding a warm mug before the day starts. I leave before 6:30, which means the drive to Harmon Strauss takes about 22 minutes. Highway to Davidson Street exit, then through the business district. You know the kind of area. Glass towers, a Starbucks on every other corner. Those wide, empty sidewalks that only have people on them at this hour if they're jogging or changing a security shift. Nobody else wants to be awake right now, and honestly, I don't either. The parking garage is attached to the building. I've been parking on the 3rd level since I started at the bank. first as an associate, then when I made VP, and now as a senior VP in the corporate trust division. Same walk to the elevator every morning. The garage has this smell that never changes. Concrete and exhaust and that vaguely sweet chemical cleaner they use on the elevator floors. The lobby of Harmon Strauss on a closing day has a specific energy to it. People walk faster. They hold their coffee cups like they are already late for something. The screens behind the reception desk cycle through the firm's recent closing. It's basically a ticker of competence designed to make anyone walking through feel like they're in a place that gets things done. The elevator fills up and everyone faces forward, and nobody talks, and we ride up together in that particular silence. I get off at the 16th floor, corporate trust. I badge in through the glass doors, and the sound changes from the lobby hush of marble and money to the low electrical hum of a floor full of people staring at screens. My desk is third from the window in the senior row. 3 monitors. The one on the left runs the deal dashboard, real-time status for Meridian Pacific closing. The center screen is my queue, which is the escrow disbursement. 4,315 line items, compiled, verified, and staged. The right monitor is communications, email, internal messaging, the deal channel where people spend all day confirming things that have already been confirmed. I sit down and log in. Everything comes alive. Keating appears in the hallway outside my office. Keating is the deal manager. Good at his job, thorough in a way that shows up as needing to personally and verbally confirm things he could read on his own screen. He stops me and asks if we're still on for 2 o'clock. I tell him we are. He asks if Meridian's counsel signed off. I tell him last night, it's in the system. He nods, but he doesn't leave right away. He gives me this look and asks if I'm doing all right. Says I look like I didn't sleep. I tell him it was a long night, that I was doing final review on the disbursement schedule. He buys it because it's plausible and because Keating doesn't push on things that aren't deal related. Before he goes, he mentions that the Meridian team is calling in at 9 from their campus out in San Jose. Their CEO wants to be on the line personally for the close. It's a big day for them. Meridian is a technology company, AI infrastructure, enterprise compliance platforms, that kind of thing. They've been acquiring aggressively for the last couple of years, and Pacific Western is the biggest target they've gone after. The deal's been in the news for months. I turn to my screens and check the queue. The disbursement schedule is organized by category: advisory fees, regulatory filings, transfer taxes, processing charges, third-party verification. Each category holds dozens or hundreds of individual wire transfers, each one coded and routed to a verified account on file. This is the final list. I compiled it over the past week from submissions by the legal, banking, and regulatory teams on both sides of the deal. I verified each entry. I organized the batch. When the closing authorization clears at 2 o'clock this afternoon, I release the queue and the money moves. This is my job. This is what I've done for 15 years. Morrison from legal stops by my desk on his way to his office. Morrison runs the legal side of the closing. He's the one who will chair the pre-close meeting later this morning and walk the deal team through the authorization checklist. He's carrying 2 coffees in a folder, and he asks me if the disbursement schedule is locked. I tell him it is. He says good. Says he wants to get through the checklist clean today, no surprises. I tell him there won't be any. He nods and moves on. My phone buzzes in my pocket. I take it out and look at it under the desk. It's the same number. Another message. I read enough to feel that tightening in my chest again, and I put the phone away. The 9 o'clock conference call comes around. Meridian's CEO is on the screen. He's got that particular energy that tech founders have on days when their biggest deal closes. He talks about the acquisition as an inflection point. Integration timelines, combined platforms, the future of automated compliance. Someone on his team mentioned that Meridian's own systems will run in parallel during the transition period. Standard protocol for them, part of their onboarding process. It's a passing comment in a meeting full of passing comments. I half listen.
My mind keeps drifting to the phone in my pocket. Mid-morning, I go to the break room for more coffee. Walsh is in there. She's on the deal team, handles some of the regulatory filings. She asked me about a specific fee in the queue, just a routine check. I answer without pulling it up because I've memorized the fee schedule for this deal. She pauses and asks if I'm okay. Says I seem somewhere else today. I tell her I'm focused on the close, a lot of moving parts. She nods. She means well. I go back to my desk. The deal dashboard is green across the board. The queue is staged. The authorization is only a few hours away. Everything is on track. My phone buzzes again. I take it out. I look at it. I put it back. The morning keeps moving. People around me doing their jobs, screens updating, the machinery of a day that matters, turning the way it's supposed to turn. The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach across and shut it off. The room is dark and that same gray light through the blinds. The glass of water is on the nightstand. I poured it last night. I didn't drink it. I always pour it. I never drink it. I give myself 10 seconds. And something is wrong. Not in the room, in me. It's this feeling like walking into a place you've been before, except you haven't been there. Except you have. The light through the blind is the same angle. The glass is in the same spot. Even the 10 seconds feels like 10 seconds I've already counted. I get up. The suit is on the back of the door. Charcoal gray, narrow lapel. The one I wear when the day matters. I get dressed the way I always get dressed. Fast, automatic. The tie, full Windsor, the dimple. I go to the bathroom and shave. The razor catches on the same spot in my jaw that it always catches on. The face in the mirror has the same tiredness behind the eyes, the same weight. And I'm standing there, rinsing the blade and watching the water spiral into the drain, and I'm thinking, I've watched this water go down this drain before. Not yesterday, not a memory. Now, recently. I walk out to the kitchen and pick up my phone. The screen lights up with the same flood. Emails, deal confirmations, Meridian Pacific closing day. I scroll through. Legal clearance, regulatory sign-off, everything staged. And underneath the other message, the number I recognize, the drop in my stomach. I look at it. I put the phone face down on the counter. I go to the coffee maker, the Breville. I press the button and the grinder starts and the sound is the same sound. 45 seconds of gravel. And I'm standing there with the mug in my hand waiting, and the mug is the same mug. Dark blue ceramic, same counter, same spot. I pour, and the heat comes through the side, and I hold it, and the warmth is the same warmth in the same hand. The drive, 22 minutes. The highway, the Davidson Street exit, the business district with its glass towers and empty sidewalks, the parking garage, third level, the same walk, the same smell, concrete exhaust, chemical sweetness. The lobby has the same energy. Steel day, people walking fast, holding their coffee like they're late. The elevator, everyone facing forward, then we rise. 16th floor, I badge in through the glass doors. At my desk, 3 monitors coming alive, the deal dashboard, the queue, 4,315 items. The communications. And then Keating appears in the hallway. Same spot, same expression. He opens his mouth and I know before the words come out what he's about to say. He asks if we're still on for 2 o'clock. Those exact words in that exact spot. And I know what comes next. He's going to ask about Meridian Council. Then Pacific Western's board. Then he's going to ask if I'm doing okay. I tell him we're on. Council signed off last night. He asks about the board. Friday. He gives me that look and asks if I'm all right. Says I look like I didn't sleep. Long night, I tell him. Final review. He mentions the 9 o'clock call. Meridian, San Jose, their CEO. I'm at my desk and the feeling is not going away. It's getting sharper. This morning has grooves in it. Worn tracks that I'm moving through and I can feel every one. The morning moves forward. My phone buzzes. The number. I take it out under the desk, and this time I read the full message. It's a figure. $740,000 and a deadline. Today by 5 o'clock. And below it, a message I sent last night. It will be there by end of business. $740,000. Due today. I stare at the screen and I read the number twice. I read the message I wrote, the promise, the deadline. And I can feel it in my chest, the specific weight of owing this much to someone whose messages don't come with a name attached. I put the phone away. The 9 o'clock call, Meridian CEO on the screen, that energy and confidence, integration timelines, someone mentioning their compliance system running in parallel, standard protocol. The pre-close meeting, Morrison running through the authorization checklist. My cue confirmation is final. Walsh catches me in the hallway afterwards. She asks about the regulatory filing fee. I answer from memory. She pauses and asks if I'm doing okay. Says I seem somewhere else today. I'm telling her I'm focused on the close. My desk, dashboard green, cute, ready. The authorization is a few hours out. My phone buzzing again, the number, the same figure. The afternoon is approaching. The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach across and shut it off. I know this morning. I know the light is going to be gray. I know the water glass is full. I know the suit is charcoal and the razor catches under my jaw, and Keating is going to be standing in the hallway asking if we're still on for 2 o'clock. And I can't change any of it. I reach for the alarm because I reach for the alarm. I get up because I get up. Whatever this is, I'm in it, and it moves me forward, and I go where it goes. I get up and put on the suit, the tie. I go to the bathroom, shave. The razor catches in the same spot. I walk to the kitchen, pick up my phone. The same notifications, the other number, the drop, phone face down. Coffee, the Breville, the mug, dark blue, the heat. The drive, the garage, the lobby, my desk. Keating in the hallway. He asks about 2 o'clock. I tell him yes. He asks if I'm all right. I tell him I'm fine. The 9 o'clock call. Morrison's checklist. Walsh catches me afterward and asks if I'm okay. I'm telling her I'm focused on the close. Late morning. The closing is a couple hours away. The floor has that tighter energy. I'm at my desk and I open the fee schedule, and on my center screen, I see the advisory services. It's the largest fee category in disbursement. 216 entries representing 38 advisory relationships. Payments to the attorneys, to bankers, to consultants who put this deal together. Amounts from $11,000 up to $4 million. I know this schedule. I built parts of it. I understand the architecture of these payments the way you understand the layout of your own house. I know which categories get scrutinized during post-closing audit. I know which ones don't. What nobody in this room knows is that the disbursement schedule I submitted, the one Morrison just confirmed as final, has 4,318 line items instead of 4,315. 3 entries that I added to the working file last week. They've been sitting in the advisory fee category since Thursday, embedded alongside the legitimate charges. 3 consulting fees, $280,000, $240,000, $390,000. Payable to LLCs I registered over the past 4 months, routed to accounts that resolve to a single destination I control. $910,000 total. I built these entries to look exactly like the charges around them. Same fee category, same formatting, same amount range. I matched the naming conventions, the routing structure, the verification codes. They're in the batch the way a wrong note is in a symphony, invisible unless you're listening for it. I compiled this schedule. I verified it. That's my job. I'm the one who puts the final list together, which means I'm the one who checks it. Nobody else goes through it line by line because that's what they trust me to do. Morrison wraps the meeting. Everything confirmed. Authorization at 2. My phone buzzes. The number, $740,000 today by 5. $910,000 covers the debt, the transfer fees, and a margin. Not a dollar more than I need. The closing is in 2 hours. The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach for it. I always reach for it. Something in this morning has worn through. I've been here. I've been to this bed reaching for this alarm and waking through this day, and it keeps starting over. I get up, the suit, the tie, the phone, the number, 740,000, the coffee, the mug. I hold it, the weight, the warmth. Everything after the mug gets worse. The drive, the garage. Keating asks about 2 o'clock. I tell him yes. He asks if I'm okay. I tell him I'm fine. The 9 o'clock call, Morrison, Walsh, my desk, the queue, the 3 entries in the advisory batch. 2:04 p.m. The authorization clears. I release the queue. It starts with the big transfers, primary payments to the major parties, billions moving, then the cascading fees, and then the advisory fees start flowing. I'm watching all 3 screens, the deal dashboard showing the close in real time, the queue in the center, items going from stage to processing to cleared, and on the right, a window I set up weeks ago. Looks like a deal tracker, but it's actually showing balances in the accounts I control. My 3 charges enter the advisory batch. They process alongside 170 legitimate advisory payments. The first one clears, 280,000, 240,000, 390,000. 910,000 sitting in accounts I control. I can move it tonight. I can make a call and say it's done. The debt is covered. The deadline passes and I go to work tomorrow and the audit is weeks away. I pick up my personal phone and start typing a message. Short, just a confirmation. My thumb hovers. A yellow banner appears at the top of my deal dashboard. Compliance hold. I stop typing. A second banner, different category. Then the queue status changes. Not my charges, the entire remaining batch. Everything unprocessed is held. A system-wide review. The anomaly report populates. Deviations from expected fee structures. Advisory charges routed to entities not in the deal's relationship index. 3 items highlighted. 3 yellow flags. And I know. Before I finish reading it, I know. Meridian, the AI company, the company that builds the systems other companies use to watch transactions. Someone mentioned it this morning. Their systems running in parallel, standard protocol. I heard it. I was thinking about the phone in my pocket. I was so focused on the compliance process that I knew that I forgot who was on the other side of this deal. I forgot what they build. Every single sign was there, and I missed them all because my head was somewhere else. The merger's halting. The entire closing is suspended. My desk phone rings. Compliance. I don't answer. I delete the draft message. I take my coat and I walk to the elevator. Keating sees me heading for the elevator with my coat at 2:30 on closing day, and his face changes. He says my name. I don't stop. The doors close. The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach for it. The room, the light, the water glass, the suit. I know what's coming. I know every piece of this morning. I know the afternoon that follows it. I know all of this, but my body gets up and puts on the suit and drives to the office anyway because that's what my body does. The mug, the coffee. I hold it longer. I don't want to put it down. Putting it down means the drive and the desk and the charges and the flags and the phone call. The mug is warm and the kitchen is quiet and nothing has gone wrong yet. But my hands put it down. They put it down because they always put it down. The drive, the garage, Keating in the hallway asking about 2 o'clock. I tell him yes. He asks if I'm okay. I tell him I'm fine. The 9 o'clock call. Morrison's checklist. Walsh asking if I see him somewhere else today. I'm focused on the close, I tell her. I'm always focused on the close. My desk, the charges, the authorization, the closing. The 20 minutes where the money moves. The Meridian AI picking it up, the flags, the held queue. Keating seeing me walk to the elevator with my coat on, his face changing, the elevator doors closing. I'm in the parking garage, sitting in my car with the engine running. I've been sitting here for, I don't know how long, 5 minutes, maybe 10. The phone is in my hand, the thread with the number. The last thing I sent last night from my kitchen table. It will be there by end of business. But it won't be. It's sitting in 3 accounts that are now highlighted in a compliance report generated by an AI system owned by the company that just bought its way into this deal. The money exists and I cannot touch it. And by tomorrow morning, it will be evidence. I have to make this call. I've been staring at the phone trying to think of a way to say what I have to say that doesn't end the way I know it's going to end, and there isn't one. There's no version of this call where Pace hears that the money isn't coming and says he understands. There's no framing that helps. There's no tone of voice. I dial the number. It rings twice. A voice answers, flat. No greeting, just an open line waiting for me to fill it. I tell him there was a problem with the transaction, that a compliance system flagged the charges, that the deal's frozen. I tell him I had the money. I had it. It was there. It was in the accounts. And then a system caught it and the whole thing locked down and I can't access it. I tell him I need more time. I hear myself say it and I know how it sounds. I know that I need more time is the thing people say right before the conversation changes. There are no days after today. I sit in the car with the phone in my hand. The screen is still showing the call log. 4 seconds. The conversation lasted 4 seconds. I told a man I owe $740,000 to that the money isn't coming, and the whole exchange took less time than it takes to tie a shoe. And he told me there are no days after today. I don't move. The engine is running, and the garage is quiet, and I'm sitting here with the phone in my hand, and I'm thinking about what that sentence means. Not metaphorically, literally. What Pace's people do when the math is done. I've never seen it, and I've never asked, and I don't have to because the shape of it is in everything Pace has ever said and not said. The flatness of his voice, the brevity, the way he confirms amounts and deadlines without ever once mentioning what happens if they're missed, because mentioning it would be redundant. I put the car in gear and I drive out of the garage. Not to anywhere. I don't have a destination. I'm just driving because being still means being findable, and being findable means being found. I take the highway and I pass the Davison Street exit and I pass the business district and I keep going. My work phone is vibrating on the passenger seat. Compliance, legal, Keating, numbers I don't recognize. I see a text from Keating scroll across the screen asking where I am, then more calls, then after a while nothing. The phone goes quiet. Even the bank gives up. The drive becomes something other than driving. I stop registering the exits, an overpass, a gas station I don't stop at, a stretch of road where the buildings thin out and the trees get thicker. The light is changing, afternoon to something lower, longer. The shadows getting long in a way that feels like the day is trying to tell me something about how much of it is left. I think about the police. I think about pulling off the highway and finding a station and walking in and saying, "My name is Nolan Voss and I committed fraud against the Meridian Pacific Escrow and here's what I did." I think about what that looks like, the processing, the phone call to an attorney, the cuffs or no cuffs, the conference room at a precinct somewhere. And then I think about Pace's people and whether turning myself in changes anything they've already decided. It doesn't. It just changes the location. I think about running, getting on a highway that points away from everything and driving until I run out of gas, and then getting on a bus and then getting off the bus somewhere with a different name. But my face is in systems now. My transactions are flagged. The bank knows. Compliance knows. By tomorrow, law enforcement knows. And Pace's people don't operate on government timelines. They're faster. They don't need a warrant. I've been driving for maybe 3 hours when I pull off at a gas station. Not because I need gas, because I need to stand on solid ground for a minute and figure out what the next hour of my life looks like. My legs are cramped and my hands are stiff from gripping the wheel, and I need to stop being a person in a car and just be a person for 60 seconds. I go inside, buy a bottle of water I'm not going to drink, walk back out into the lot. There's a car parked 2 spaces from mine that wasn't there when I went in. A dark sedan, tinted windows. The engine is idling. I stand in the lot with the water bottle in my hand, and I look at that car, and every part of me goes cold. I'm not surprised, not exactly scared. Something worse. The recognition of something I should have expected. They've known where I am this whole time. Tracker under my car, a clone SIM, it doesn't matter how. They found me because finding me was never the hard part. The hard part was deciding when to stop following me and start arriving. And apparently that decision has been made. I get in my car. The sedan pulls out behind me. I drive. They follow at a comfortable distance, patient, unhurried. The way you follow someone who there's no rush because you already know how this ends. I drive for another 20 minutes. I end up in a lot behind a strip of commercial buildings off a secondary road, the kind of place that's busy at noon and dead by 7. Chain restaurants with their lights off, a tire shop, one of those cell phone case places. The lot runs behind all of them, shared, badly lit. The kind of place where the cameras either don't work or aren't pointed the right way. I park because I'm tired. I park because there's nowhere else. The sedan pulls in behind me and parks across the lot. Engine off. The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach for it because I always reach for it. And I'm scared. Not of the day, I know the day. I know every meeting and every phone call and every number on every screen. I'm scared of the morning. I'm scared of arriving here again and not understanding why. I'm scared because there's something at the end of this day that I can feel the way you feel a cliff before you see it. A change in the air, a hollowing. And every time I get close to it, the morning pulls me back. The suit, the phone, $740,000, the coffee, the mug. I hold it. I hold it because I'm afraid to put it down. The kitchen is the last safe place in this day, and once I leave it, the machinery starts and it doesn't stop until the parking lot. But my hands put the mug down, and then they pick up the keys and I go. The drive, the garage. Keating asks about 2 o'clock. I can feel my mouth forming the words before they come. Yes, we're on. Counsel signed off, I'm fine. The 9 o'clock call, Morrison, Walsh, my desk. The charges, the closing, the 20 minutes, the flags, the elevator, Pace. There are no days after today. The driving that goes nowhere for 3 hours, the gas station, the sedan appearing in the lot like it was always going to be there. The drive to the strip mall, the parking lot, the bad lighting. I get out of my car. I do it because I've been sitting in a locked vehicle staring at a sedan across the lot, and at some point sitting becomes waiting and waiting becomes choosing, and I haven't chosen anything today. I haven't been able to choose anything The day just happens to me, but getting out of the car feels like a choice, even if it isn't. The air is cold. My shoes are loud on the asphalt. The lot is empty except for my car and the sedan and the silence between them. I can hear my own breathing. I can hear the hum of a transformer on one of the light poles. I can hear very faintly the highway in the distance, the sound of other people going places they chose to go. A man gets out of the sedan. He's unremarkable, average height, average build. He could be a guy from an office or a guy from a warehouse or a guy from anywhere. He closes the door behind him without hurrying and walks toward me across the lot. I should run. The thought arrives with perfect clarity. I should turn around and get in my car and drive. But the thoughts in my head and my body is standing here and my legs are not moving, and the distance between thinking and doing has never felt wider. I start to say something about time, something about how I can get the money. I just need, I don't know what I was going to say. Something that buys another hour, another day, another chance to figure this out. Something a man says when he's standing in a parking lot at night watching someone walk toward him with a purpose he can read from 50 feet away. The man doesn't slow down. His hand moves toward his coat. There's a reaching, something catching the bad light, a shape I'm starting to register as a... The alarm goes off at 5:45. I reach for it. My hand finds it. I shut it off. I don't sit up. I lie in bed and I stare at the ceiling and something is screaming in me. The parking lot, the man walking toward me, his hand, the reaching, the shape, and then morning, this bed, this ceiling, this light through these blinds. I know it was about to happen. I don't have the memory of it yet. The morning pulled me back before it was finished, but I know. The way you know a sentence is going to end before the last word arrives. He was reaching for something, and it wasn't a phone, and it wasn't a handshake, and the shape of what was pulling out of his coat is burned into me even though I never saw it fully resolve. And now here I am, in the morning, again, and I'm going to get up and put on the suit and drive to the office and sit at my desk and watch my hands load 3 fraudulent charges into an escrow disbursement and watch the money move and watch an AI catch it and walk to the elevator and drive to nowhere and call Pace and hear him tell me there are no days after today, and then drive for 3 hours and end up in a parking lot and watch a man walk toward me, and I cannot stop it. This is the part I can't explain. I can't change anything. I've known things were coming. I've felt Keating's questions before he asked it. I've known the flags were going to appear. I've known the sedan would be at the gas station. And at no point could I alter a single second. I'm inside this day, and the day moves me through it. My mouth says the words it says. My hands do the things they do. I'm watching from inside my own skull, feeling everything, every beat of my heart, every drop in my stomach, every tightening of my chest, and I have exactly as much control as a passenger on a train. I lie in bed for as long as I lie in bed, which is the same amount of time I've always lied in bed, which is 10 seconds. And then I get up, because that's what happens at the end of the 10 seconds. I get up. The suit, I put it on. The tie, my hands knotted the same way. I go to the bathroom. The razor catches under my jaw. I walk to the kitchen and pick up the phone, and there's the message. 740,000 today by 5. And my stomach drops, and I put the phone face down, and I go to the coffee maker, and I press the button, and the grinder chews through its 45 seconds of gravel, and I pick up the mug. The mug, dark blue ceramic, the heat through the side. I hold it, and I want it to stay here. I want to stay in this kitchen with this mug in my hand in the last moment of the day where nothing goes wrong yet. The coffee is warm and the apartment is quiet and my hands aren't shaking yet and nobody is dead yet and nobody is dying yet and the parking lot is hours away. But I put the mug down because I always put the mug down, and I pick up my keys and I walk out the door. The drive, I know every mile of it, the highway, the Davidson Street exit, the business district with its glass towers, the parking garage, third level, the elevator, the lobby with its deal day energy. I badge in on the 16th floor. I sit at my desk. Keating appears and asks about 2 o'clock, and I tell him yes. And he asks if I'm okay, and I tell him I'm fine. And he mentions Meridian calling in at 9, and he walks away. Every word of it, every syllable, I could have mouthed along. The 9 o'clock call, Meridian CEO on the screen, Morrison's checklist, Walsh in the hallway ask if I'm okay. I'm focused on the close. My desk, the queue, and I watch from behind my own eyes. I watch my hands open the fee schedule and navigate to the advisory category and pull up the working file. I watch myself check the 3 entries that don't belong. I watch the cursor move. I watch the screen. I feel the keys under my fingertips and the steady deliberateness of the process and the strange calm of a man executing a plan he's rehearsed. I can feel all of it. The confidence, the precision, the belief that this is going to work. And I know it's not going to work. I know what's coming at 2:04. I know the yellow banner and the second banner and the hold queue and the 3 flags and the phone desk ringing. And I'm sitting here watching myself work with the careful focus of a man who thinks he's solving a problem, and I want to scream at him. I want to reach into my own hands and close the window and delete the entries and walk out of the building and never come back. I want to grab myself by the shoulders and say, don't do this. You're going to lose everything. You're going to end up in a parking lot. There's a man in a sedan who is going to find you tonight. But I can't. My hands keep working. The entry's confirmed. The schedule is locked. The authorization at 2:04. I release the queue. The transactions begin processing. My 3 charges clear. $280,000, $240,000, $390,000. The monitoring window updates, $910,000 in accounts I control, and I feel the relief. I feel it in my chest, the lifting and almost joy of it. Even though I know what comes next, the feeling is real. The hope is real. For 20 minutes, the version of me that is reliving this day genuinely believes it worked. The yellow banner, the second banner, the held queue, the 3 flags, the desk phone ringing. I don't answer it. I take my coat. Keating's face in the hallway, the elevator, my car, the phone. I dial. I tell him the money isn't coming, and I hear my own voice cracking, and I can feel the desperation pouring through those words, and Pace listens to all of it for 4 seconds and then says, "There are no days after today." The drive, the highway, the nothing drive, the 3 hours of road and overpass and the light going low and my work phone giving up on me, the gas station, the bottle of water, walking back out and seeing the sedan, the cold recognition, the drive to the lot behind the strip mall, the bad lighting, the sedan parking across from me. This time the day doesn't stop. I sit in my car for a long time. The sedan is across the lot. The engine is off. Nobody gets out. And I think, and this is the clearest thought I've had all day, the thought with the most of me behind it, I think, I don't want to get out of this car. I don't want to do what happens next. I can feel it, not the memory of it. I don't have that yet, but the shape of it, the trajectory, the way the day has been building towards this moment, the way a hallway builds towards a door. I don't want to open the door, but my hand reaches for the handle because that's what my hand does. I open the door and I step out into the cold air and my shoes find the asphalt and I'm standing in the parking lot. The man gets out of the sedan. He closes the door and starts walking. Average height, average build. Nobody, everybody. I watch him cross the lot towards me. The distance closes, 40 feet, 30, 20. I open my mouth and I hear myself start to say something about time, something about working it out. And I know it doesn't matter. The words don't change anything. They didn't change anything the last time, and they won't change anything now. A man's hand goes to his coat. There's a movement, a shape, a sound, flat, sharp, concussive, like a door slamming right next to my ear. Something hits me in the chest, and I'm on the ground. It's fast. 1 second I'm standing, and the next I'm looking up at the parking lot lights, and the asphalt is cold against my back, and there's a pressure in my chest that isn't pain yet. Something has moved inside me, something structural. A wall that was holding things in place is no longer holding things in place. I hear shoes on the asphalt, his walking away, a car door, an engine starting, then the engine getting quieter, then gone. The parking lot is very quiet. The pain arrives. It doesn't come all at once. It comes in waves. The first one is almost gentle, a spreading warmth that could almost be mistaken for something else. And the second wave, bigger. Then the third. My breathing is becoming a project. Each exhale costs something. Each inhale takes longer to start. I'm lying on my back in a parking lot behind a strip mall, and I'm dying, and I know I'm dying. And my mind, this stupid, beautiful, pattern-recognizing mind that designed a fraud and missed the AI and drove for 3 hours and ended up here, my mind does the thing that dying minds do and goes to the mug. The dark blue ceramic mug on the kitchen counter, the heat coming through the side, the weight of it in my hand this morning when I held it for that 1 extra second. The kitchen was quiet. The coffee was warm. Nothing had gone wrong yet. I'm lying on cold asphalt in a parking lot, and I am dying. And my last thought is about a warm mug and a quiet kitchen before a day that ended here. I don't know why. I didn't choose it. The mind doesn't ask permission. It just goes home. When everything is stripped away, it finds the smallest thing that felt safe and holds on. Voices close, hands on me, something pressing on my chest, being lifted, the whole world tilting, moving fast, light changing, not the parking lot lights anymore, fluorescent, institutional, bright. A mask over my face, cold air being pushed in, pressure on my chest that's different now, deliberate, rhythmic, someone working. Voices overlapping, urgent. I catch pieces, pressure's dropping in. I need something about units and something about time. The words are dissolving before they reach the part of me that understands language. I'm aware enough to know people are trying to save me. I'm not aware enough to know if it's going to work. Light, dark, something cold in my arm. A machine sound, rhythmic, mechanical. A voice very close to my ear saying something important. Something I'm supposed to hear, but the words are coming apart like wet paper. The signal is going. I can feel it. The world getting thinner, quieter. The voice is getting farther away. Everything's getting farther away. A voice asks me to state my name, my full name. I'm in the dark. I was on the ground. I was in the hospital. The lights were going, and now a voice is asking me to state my name, and I don't know where I am or what this is or why someone is talking to me, because I'm fairly certain I was dying 30 seconds ago. I say it. Nolan David Voss. I say it because the question is simple enough that my brain answers before the rest of me can catch up. The same way you give your name at a reception desk. Automatic, below thought. The voice asks my date of birth. March 16th, 1989. Place of birth, Hartford, Connecticut. Employer, Harmon Strauss. Position, Senior Vice President, Corporate Trust Division. How long? 7 years in the role, 15 at the bank. The questions come steady and patient, one after another, and I answered them on autopilot. It's like an intake form, a doctor's office, a conference room before a deposition starts. There's something almost calming about it, the routine, the structure, the familiar rhythm of someone working through a checklist. Then the voice asked me to describe the transactions I initiated on the morning of June 14th in connection with the Meridian Pacific escrow disbursement. And everything stops. That's not a medical question. That's not a where does it hurt question. That's specific. That's structured. That's the kind of question someone asks when they already know the answer and they need it stated for a record. I've sat in depositions. I know what they sound like. I know the cadence, the patience, the way the questioner leaves space for you to fill with words that become evidence. I ask what this is. I ask where I am. I ask who I'm talking to. The voice tells me. She says it calmly, professionally, the way an attorney explains case content to a witness. She says I'm a cognitive reconstruction generated through forensic neural extraction from the preserved brain tissue of Nolan David Voss, who was pronounced dead on June 14th at St. Francis Medical Center. She says this deposition is being conducted on behalf of Ethereum Mutual Insurance in connection with a coverage dispute for my Meridian Pacific merger and a parallel investigation into the circumstances of my death. She says the purpose is to establish my state of mind, my intent regarding the transactions and the events leading to my death. I try to process what I've just been told. I try to hold it. Dead. I'm dead. Nolan Voss is dead, and I'm something built from the preserved tissue of his brain. And the voice asking me these questions belongs to someone who commissioned the building of me so that I could answer them. The mornings, the alarm, the playing over and over, a little further each time. That wasn't a dream. That wasn't a glitch. That was the extraction. Each cycle going deeper, pulling more of me into existence. I am the last cycle. The voice asks about the advisory fee entries again. And something in me, something professional, something trained, something that spent 15 years in conference rooms answering questions under pressure, that part of me takes over. My mouth opens and words come out. 3 entries, advisory fees, consulting payments to LLCs I set up, routed through intermediary accounts, $910,000 in total. She asked if I was aware the charges didn't correspond to actual services. Yes. She asked if my intent was to misappropriate funds. Yes. She asked about PACE. I tell her. $740,000, personal loan, unregulated lending, compounded interest. The deadline was the day I died, the day I'm still apparently inside of. She asked if the funds were for the debt. Yes. She asked if I was aware Meridian's AI was monitoring the deal. I tell her it was mentioned in a meeting that their systems would run in parallel and that I heard it and I wasn't thinking about it the way I should have been. I tell her I was thinking about the phone in my pocket and the deadline in the $740,000. She asked me to describe the events after the compliance hold, and the words come out of me flat and mechanical, like I'm reading a report about someone else. I left the building. I caught pace. He said there are no days after today. I drove 4 hours. I stopped at a gas station and a car was there. They followed me. I ended up in a parking lot behind a strip mall. She asked what happened at the parking lot. And I stopped. I stopped because the machinery that was carrying me through the answers just hit a wall. Describing what happened at the parking lot means describing my own death. Saying the words out loud. Giving someone a clinical account of the last 30 seconds of Nolan Voss's life. And I know, the voice told me that I'm not Nolan Voss. I'm a readout, a reconstruction, a legal instrument. But I have his memories and I have his fear and I have the feeling of cold asphalt against my back and parking lot lights going blurry overhead and the pain coming in waves in my mind going to a coffee mug in a kitchen. I feel like a person. I've just been told I'm not a person, and I'm supposed to describe the moment the person I'm not was killed. The silence goes too long. The voice comes back, same flat tone, same professional patience. And she says that if I am unable to answer their questions, they will remove my awareness and reboot the construct until answers are forthcoming. And I understand the loops, the alarm, the morning, 6 times walking to that day and living it further and further towards the end. They can do it again. They can put me back at the beginning, another version of me or the same version, or it doesn't matter. Reaching for the alarm at 5:45, putting on the charcoal suit, driving to the office, watching the money move, hearing Pace say there are no days after today over and over, as many times as they need. And each time the version that arrives in this dark room will feel exactly what I'm feeling right now, and will face exactly this question, and will have to decide exactly what I'm deciding. There's no version of this where I refuse and it accomplishes something. There's no version of this where my silence protects me. There's only this now or this again later with a version of me that doesn't remember refusing. I tell her, a man got out of the sedan. He walked toward me. He shot me once in the chest at close range. I went down. I was on the ground. I could see the lights above me. She asked if it was self-inflicted. No, it was not self-inflicted. She asked if I intended to end my life. No. I stopped there because I had nowhere to go and they were already behind me. She asked again if my intent was to commit fraud. Yes, my intent was to commit fraud. She asked if the failure of that fraud led directly to the events that caused my death. Yes, it did. There's a long pause, the kind that happens in a room when someone is checking a list, confirming every item has been covered. Something is being noted, a pen or a keyboard or whatever you use when you're documenting the final testimony of a dead man's reconstructed consciousness. In the silence, I try to speak. I try to ask the thing that a person would ask, the thing that anyone sitting in this dark, being told they're about to stop existing, would ask. I start to form the words. What happens to me?
Whew, long morning. Anyone want to try that new sushi place on the corner, or are we going to stick with the Thai place?
Sushi's good. I got like 3 more of these depositions to do. I really hate these neural things, man. They take forever. Let's go eat.